Hi, I'm Frank DeFelice.
And I'm Jim Cassis. We've both been nurses for over 25 years.
The thing is, Jim and I have spent almost our entire careers in the operating room.
And there's much more to nursing than just the operating room. The nursing profession is a widely diverse field.
Yeah, Jim, with many specialty areas. There's the ER, pediatrics, hospice, school nurse, the list goes on and on.
We are on a mission to explore the nursing profession. That's why we created our show, Real Talk with Real Nurses. This journey will take us out of the OR and out into the nursing community.
Our show is driven by interviews with nurses who describe what they do, how they do it, and share their personal stories. So welcome to Real Talk with Real Nurses.
Or as we like to call it, the Jim and Frank Show.
And that too, yeah.
Another episode of Real Talk with Real Nurses coming right up.
Welcome to Real Talk with Real Nurses. I'm Frank DeFelice.
And I'm Jim Cassis.
Well, welcome to today's show. It's the Travel Nurses Show.
All right, today we have two travel nurses with us. Can you please introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about yourselves?
My name is Neal, Olivier. I've been a nurse for, I think, about 6 years. I'm currently in the OR for the last, I think, 5, something like that. I think.
How long have you been there?
Yeah. I think it's 5.
I'm Gerard, Desposito. I've been a nurse going to be 12 years. Background in ICU for 5+ years, and I've spent the rest of the time in the OR.
Now, what are your ages, just for the sake of...
Lady never
46.
46.
46.
You're both 46?
Both 46.
You guys are childhood friends, right?
We
Yes.
are.
Oh,
All right.
you are?
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
going to ask if you guys were twins.
I know you get that. I know the hair. Kind of
Well, it
match
could be fraternal.
Right.
He got the hair, you got the looks. I don't
That's
know.
right. That's right.
So,
All right, so anyway, we're going to start off with a couple travel statistics that the audience may be interested in. But before the pandemic, travel nurses made up 3 to 4% of the overall national staff. But as of August 2022, travel nurses make up about 8 to 10% of all hospital staff in the U.S. So that's a dramatic jump, and they say the numbers are still climbing off the charts. Travel nursing jobs are growing exponentially, and there are 1.1 million travel nurses jobs created in 2022.
Wow.
Since we have I think over 5 million licensed nurses in this country, 1.1 is a big chunk. And there's only like, 4,300,000-ish
that are
working.
So
Actually working.
About 20% that you're
That's a
looking
big percentage of
Wow.
of the workforce are traveling. And then another little thing that I dug up here that in 2016, travelers, 16.5% were male. And then in 2019, it went up to 17.5. And the general population overall of men in nursing is around 12%. So there's a big...
a little difference there.
Yeah, there's a trend upward with males and well represented in travel, overrepresented. Jim?
All right, so you guys can tell us, what made you get into travel nursing? What were some of the factors that made you decide to go do that instead of a regular 9 to 5, so to say?
So I
Please.
I was a 9 to 5, so to speak, staff nurse. Did that for a long time. Initially, in June of 2020, I looked to get into traveling strictly for money.
Right.
That was, let me get out of, I'm infested with COVID here. I might as well make money to, kind of equal my my risk.
Yeah.
That's,
Right, nice. Yeah,
that's
yeah.
how I looked at
Well,
it.
yeah.
So, and because of my ICU background, I was put back into the ICU. They closed down the OR. I spent 13 weeks there, on top of a few weeks that him and I and a few other nurses were out with the Board of Health, doing swabs.
Okay.
drive-through
You guys are
swabbing.
swabbers, huh?
Yeah.
Was
We
that
were.
was that at the facility that you were working at, or someplace else?
It was someplace else.
Okay.
We actually did it at the local community college there.
Okay.
So, let me jump into that. Let me, try to make some money. So, fast forward, for my own personal reasons, I had to go back. I only did one contract and had to go back. It was health reasons.
Right.
So now, a year and a half passed, and I wanted to get back into it. But now it wasn't just about money, because all those, those initial big contracts were starting to
Dwindle.
trend down.
Right.
But this time I looked at it in a bigger picture, especially having a health risk scare, which is kind of ongoing, but
Right.
still, A, you have the money, but B, you have this freedom to go and, so for instance, at our old facility, it's tough to get days off. It's
Right.
tough to not have to, I got to plan this around call. I have to plan this around for those of us that work in the operating room.
I've never noticed.
Strange, but it's true. I'll vouch for it.
So, that seemed to now weigh more on my mind because, here I am, okay, I have this health scare, and, what's going to be more important?
Right.
You
So you're saying it's a quality of life issue, actually. It's what you're saying.
You know what? And initially it says, it's money, it's money, it's
Well,
money.
you said, but then
it's
afterwards,
not.
yeah.
It's really not. It's, and then, just talks to some of the things that we've experienced together, them beating you down with call, those different, you can't take sleep time, you can't do this, you can't do that, I need you to stay.
Things completely
all
out of
those
your
things
control.
start to pile up, and it's like, I'm beating myself up for this.
The
When you
quality
actually,
of life. I like the way you said that, because it definitely has become that. They talk about burnout. all the
So
time.
you're you consider. We'll go to you now.
Honestly,
You're
money.
considering. So you came
the
in
reality
initially, but you're also
always-
having the same
the same
revelation.
epiphany. Yeah.
Okay.
It's I mean, the money is like so to leave that security, to leave your friends, to leave the place you've been at for a couple of years, and to leave all that. That's the money. I personally think. But once you get out there, I don't have to worry about upsetting the doctors and then thinking about that on the way home. I don't have to worry about upsetting the administration and not doing what they want or whatever the case is, and then not being able to punch out and forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best part of traveling, I think, is that little bit of freedom. As far as burnout goes, as far as getting beat down in the hospital, I can punch out and literally just walk away from it.
Right.
Obviously, as a nurse, I think you still care for your patient. You still have
Right,
those
right.
things weigh on you, but without the extra burden of administration or the nurse that you don't want to be with,
Right,
you
the
get stuck in a room.
politics and-
It's none of that. No
Yeah,
drama.
so we were going to get into
Yeah.
the pros of,
Yeah.
and you've touched on it.
I used to say that too. I want to work to live, not live to work.
Amen.
Well,
Right?
100%.
But I think that's impossible for a nurse. I mean, I don't care what kind of person you are. I think what we do during the day weighs on you, no matter what. I just think without the drama, it's
Right.
easier way to get through it.
But
Right.
I guess what I'm trying to say is that, your whole drive isn't about getting to work, right? Because you have a family, right? You have a social life. You don't want to be so driven that all you have to do is you're basically getting up, eating, going to work, getting up, eating, going to work, and that's it, because that's not really life, right? We have family obligations, we have parents, we have children, we have spouses, and
And how often on a day where you work 7 to 3, you're on call from 3 to
7P to 7A.
7P to 7A, right? Knowing that too.
Yeah.
It festers at you the entire day.
Right.
No matter how much you're like, looks pretty slow, the schedule. I
It's
might
not that
be.
you don't have that clean clock.
You don't
out.
have that clean clock out. If that phone rings and the anxiety.
And the other
not
thing
that
is
it matters.
then
All of us can do our job.
You go home and
Right.
you take a nap, so it alters there where you wouldn't normally take a nap, and you lost that time,
You
and then
lose that time, right?
Yeah.
And then you also lose a little bit of time with the family, just
Mm-hmm.
like you said. You're like, no, I can't. I don't want to get into that because I'm on call and I got to do this. And I got to do.
Right.
So, that really kind of, really freed me up this January when we started back traveling again.
Right.
Well, at least I did. And, well, obviously he did too, but.
How has your personal life been affected? Like, your obligations and I don't know who's. Are you both married or?
Yep, both married. Two
So
two
how
children.
affect your relationship?
Two children.
And your kids and stuff like that. Have you found a benefit to that? Have you found more quality?
Well,
in
I
your
think it goes
family
back to
life?
just really being able to clock out. Because the reality is, I'm not in a tax bracket where I can pick and choose whatever I want to do. Like,
Right.
I'm just not in that tax bracket.
Right.
As a nurse, I think we're worker bees.
Right.
Right. So, and I look forward to that, and I like that. I like that task. I like to be driven like that and put in that direction for my own sanity. But I can come home and not, I still need my hour to decompress. I get home, I don't want anyone to talk to me. I love my children. Just give me a second before you start yelling at me or complaining about something or even tell me about your fantastic day. But that's it. Then I'm good to go.
That's what the right's home's for.
Right, yeah, right. Well, we just think about it. So,
I only had a 5-minute ride home. So I didn't have much time.
You need more time to decompress.
All right, well, that pretty much touches the pros of
Yeah.
of traveling. Some other ones that were on my list of, on the internet was you can see the country. Obviously, you guys stay local,
Right,
but
right.
some people,
For now.
I know they've gone to Florida.
Right,
they're
right.
single, especially if you have no attachments. Or we have a girl that just left and went to Lancaster.
Right.
And she comes back here, and
we were just talking about California.
Yeah.
I have family in California. The issue is always the kids. At football games or taking one to work or whatever it is. Just so going away has been kind of an issue, or just really thinking
gotta
about
want
it.
you got to want it.
But I'm sure the
And some
wife
people
could
want it.
always handle a 3-month break.
Yeah.
So
How long? What's the minimum time of a contract?
Well, they're all different
yeah, I was gonna say it depends.
length.
Right.
So you have 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 12, 13. I've seen them offering 17 weeks.
Right.
But generally, you're going with 13 weeks.
Right.
That's a standard.
That's a standard.
Pretty much.
It's
Seems pretty
usually,
typical, yeah.
That's a good chunk of change being away from
3 months. Yeah.
from the kids. I mean, we got military people who get deployed all the time. That,
Right.
they have to deal with that. But usually, the family's already like bought into it.
Right,
and
right.
this is
Well,
a little new.
I mean,
yeah.
but that's also less of an option.
Yeah, that's true. That's
This
true.
is
Yeah,
more
there's
like,
Right.
you know,
Right.
this is an option.
we're choosing to go
I'm
to
choosing
California
to do
or
that.
Colorado or what
We
have you.
did get, we both got a compact license though.
Right.
So,
You want to explain to our audience what a compact license is?
Yes.
Everyone might
So
know.
a compact nursing license encompasses 37 other states, including the state we're in, which is New Jersey. And you can just apply in that state with either that state's license or a compact license, which is agreed upon by all these states. Now there's I just saw Pennsylvania, Ohio, and even the U.S. Virgin Islands. I was like, oh, really?
See,
So they,
Sounds good, Mom.
they're all signing up.
We'll see you guys later.
Hey, honey, you want to take a 3-month furlough, or we'll go to the U.S. Virgin Islands?
Right. Yeah, so that's what a compact license is.
All right. So, what are some of the cons? What may be a little bit of a turnoff with traveling nursing?
I mean, first of all, you're going into a place that you know nothing about. You know no one. You don't know where anything is. You don't know where the Band-Aids are. You don't know where the the Coban is. You don't know where anything
And
is.
I
So-
always said, like, who wants that kind of,
That kind of added
whatever.
stress.
What kind of person gets into that? But you know.
But that turns into a pro actually. But that initial that first morning on the way up or what have you, it's a lot of anxiety. It's a lot of stress in an already stressful environment.
And they pretty much want you up and running as soon as possible.
They want
That's
to try to get you
low
up and running
pressure
as
there.
quick as they possibly can because
Yeah.
they're
You're there,
paying.
and
you
you're
know,
there
and
for
you're to help.
You're there. You're a patch. You know. I mean,
Yes. Yeah.
We're
definitely a patch
broken.
on a-
We're broken, and you're here to
Right.
fix it. Yeah.
Well, at least Band-Aid it.
Right,
Not
right.
get fixed right away. Another con would be you don't know what kind of staff you're going to encounter, and which I still never got, because even when I was a staff nurse, I wouldn't treat the travelers any particular way. But some people do. Some people resent the fact that you're doing that. But it's, you're just as capable to go out there and do it yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
They resent the fact, not that you're doing it, but they resent the fact that you're getting paid more than that.
What they should be getting, they feel like they should
Right.
be getting paid, I
Right,
think. Yeah.
But if I've said it once, I've said it 100 times. If we were all paid what we feel is appropriate,
Right.
none of us would leave any of our home bases.
Right.
Exactly.
I'd still be exactly where I came from.
And there's a trade-off, right? There's a trade-off, and we're talking about cons. We're talking about, Frankie had mentioned security, retirement plans. I mean, there's a lot of other benefits that you may not necessarily
Seniority.
but are entitled to as a contract employee.
But in the same token, I don't have to be on a seniority list, because after 13 weeks, if it was a horrible contract, it was a rough 13 weeks, guess what I'm doing? I'm taking 2 weeks off.
Right.
Or I'm taking 4 weeks off, depending on how much you made and how much you were able to save. Or you could bounce right into the next one. That was great. I want to extend, something, you have that freedom.
Hopefully
Now-
the money you're making too, you're stashing a little bit away as if you had a retirement plan. Or
That's
that's an
You
important.
can't just go and, hey, I'm making
obviously
money.
you have to be good money managers.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. You can't just.
I'm not, but yes, I've heard about
The
that.
the old grasshopper and the ant thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that first paycheck is that was spent 2 months before I even got the job.
Right.
But that con does kind of, I feel like, turns into a bit of a pro, as far as going into a place where the people might not want to see you, might not want to look at you, treat you right, may not want to. I was afraid of going into a place and have a nurse not tell me how to do something, or set up a room specifically for a doctor just to watch me fail.
Right.
I haven't come across that yet. And with that fear, that anxiety of that happening or being a possibility, I try to figure things out as quickly as I possibly can, obviously, so I can get through the day. But so I don't, and this sounds so corny, but so I don't let them down, whoever I'm working with, because I don't, at the end of that 13 weeks, whether it's good or bad or what have you, I want that person or that group of people that I just worked with saying, shoot, he's leaving. He was really good. I was glad to work with that person. They busted their ass. They earned that money. I hope I said.
So it's called a work ethic.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
just-
I was gonna
It's
say,
a pride.
you
You got a
care
work
about
ethic.
your character.
You have a work ethic.
I mean, it's an ego, really, for me.
But right, but but when we talk about work ethic, we are really talking about ego, because we want to do a good job. We want to,
Sure, I
we
guess
want
so,
to be
yeah.
perceived as a capable person in whatever field that we're working in.
Right.
And you were also saying about the benefits, but when we talk about benefits, what kind of benefits do you get, or do you get any benefits at all?
So,
Yeah, what's health benefits look like?
unfortunately, depending on what agency you're with, they have the current agency we're with are based out of San Diego. So you're going to get a San Diego-based health insurance. We're fortunate enough that both our wives can opt in and get the health insurance for the whole family.
Yeah.
So we're both covered in that way, and it's a New Jersey insurance, and
Because it'll be their network, is what you're saying.
correct.
Right. So it'll
And
be-
then things
and
are like
everything be
out of network. So, for instance, I'm not going to get into the whole thing, but I have leukemia. So my medication, the first time I traveled, was not covered because in California, where this company's based, did not have to cover that medication. But in the state of New Jersey, that medication is fully covered.
Wow, surprised, because you always hear how progressive California is.
Yeah, there's a whole list from 2012, and they just keep adding
And how
drugs
could you
in New Jersey.
And how could you foresee all that? 'Cause, I mean,
Right.
you're looking at the cold con. How could you predict that?
Right. I mean, I
see
never saw
coming?
that coming.
Yeah,
you
right,
know?
right.
So one of the things that enabled both of you to become travelers is having
Most
somebody
certainly.
who had
Correct.
health
Health
insurance.
insurance, yeah.
Right.
But
And-
they do.
Frank, you want
provide-
to mention Bernie now? No, never mind.
Yeah. Get me started with
But they do
universal healthcare.
provide health
Right,
insurance
right,
for
right,
you.
right. But there's
And
limitations.
I was taking it during my first contract, and it was probably moderately expensive. I wouldn't say it's something that you're gonna go into the open market and pay,
Right.
but it wasn't pennies, that I would pay as a staff nurse at my old facility.
Right.
I was paying less than
It was an
$500
expense.
a month.
Which is something you would need to
How much are
consider.
you paying?
I was paying less than $500 a month for 5 people.
Yeah. Yeah.
At my old
which is a
facility.
huge thing to consider if you're thinking about traveling, obviously, because you see these numbers and they're starting to come up a little bit, right? The pay looks like it's starting to jump up a little bit finally again, and then you start getting excited, but then you got to go, okay, well, cost of living obviously has gone up, so the money that we thought we were going to be making.
Right.
But the insurance, if you don't have someone that has insurance for you, wife or husband or what have you, then you got to pay for that. So that big dollar sign that you saw in the beginning just got cut in half.
Even going up and down the parkway with the gas prices.
Yeah, especially going up and down the parkway.
But with the housing, now you mentioned housing because you're talking about traveling. Do they give you a different stipend depending on where you're going to? Like, obviously, paying for rent or a place down south is a lot different than trying to get someplace in New York City.
Right.
Well, and they pay you what they pay you.
So it's just a
And
strict
each
stipend.
state
You
I
can
think
either-
has their own set stipend. So they cap. Like Jersey, I don't remember what Jersey's is now.
You mean your
For food and for lodging.
The company caps it or the state caps it?
I was told that the state caps it. Am I correct in saying that? The state only
No, I
allowed
don't
a
think
certain
that's
amount.
correct. So
It might be correct.
that's what we were told,
All right.
but that's not necessarily
All right.
because we've had 2 different contracts with 2 different stipends.
Right.
One that he said,
It's
okay,
probably their internal cap for this state, and they're
Right.
making it.
Might be.
everything is not what it seems
Right.
in the travel world.
That's true.
Okay.
Especially when it comes to your paycheck. So, somebody that's a seasoned, I'm talking, we've met some travelers that have been doing this for 18 years,
Yeah.
20 years. Wow. And some are scrub techs and providing for, single mom. The one lady we met, she was great. Pretty much has done every surgery under the sun. She had a lot of insight, but, it's a big, responsibility, especially as like a single mother doing all that stuff. But,
Which brings us to we were seeing if anybody was considering traveling nursing out there. Did you have any tips or warnings or anything to somebody coming in new, what they should be looking out for, or anything in particular? Or
I think we're still learning. I know
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure it out 100%.
the one thing that I have seen from reading and talking to other travelers is find an agency that has a reputation of paying you. I've
Yeah.
too many stories
Yeah.
have I heard people not getting paid at the end of the week.
nice.
And that's, I mean,
Do you
you're
get
in
paid?
this for a
Do you get
reason,
paid at the end of the
right?
contract? Do you get paid every
Every
week?
week.
Like,
every week.
Every week.
That's number one. Find a good, reputable. Now they may not, have all the, the big blaring, contracts, upwards of whatever it might be. But they're solid. It's a good place to,
I see people all the time
Start off-
Googling who's a good agency.
Who's a good agency,
and
exactly.
And there's blogs and websites that are dedicated to nurses that travel, and then there's Facebook
Reviewing-
groups or whatever. They say this
reviewing
company
them.
is great. They pay, and they set up lodging here or what have you. There's tons of different places you can look. But yeah, I guess we'll research for sure.
So are you? Can you sign up with more than one agency?
So
Depends.
yeah, so and I don't again because I'm pretty new at the
There's
traveling.
no non-competes or anything like
Not
that?
that I'm aware of yet. And I've talked to other people, and they suggested that because each agency gets different contracts, and they have different hospitals that they use regularly, and so sometimes prices are different, or an agency might not be able to get you kind of where you're looking to go, but another agency might be able to. They might have the listing too. So it might be beneficial to have one or two agencies, or 2 or 3 agencies that you're working with, just to have on the back burner, just to be safe. Because again, once the contract's up, are they gonna hire you back, or they extend? Do you want to extend if it's a horrible place? Do you want to try to get out of there as soon as possible? You just want to have options, I think.
How often do you get extended? I mean, how often does that come up where they extend you more than
Or the
13
offers
weeks?
for extension?
Yeah.
I mean, so
It
far
depends.
in the
I'm an
3
amazing worker.
contracts that I've had, obviously still very new, but
Right.
in the 3 contracts that I've had, I've been offered extensions on all 3.
Yeah.
First one I couldn't take, and the last place we turned that one down first, and we wanted to look elsewhere. The people were great.
Yeah.
The flow and the system of that operating room for us didn't really work. So that's all. I mean, everybody else was wonderful. I mean, their pay was fair. Everything, traveling.
You guys
terms-
always travel together?
We've been lucky enough to
We've
do
been
it
lucky
the
enough
last 2.
to.
I was just going to say that would make a great YouTube channel. The review.
That's what I
review,
said.
review. I can imagine it just and have you guys in a car.
I've been trying.
'Cause it's so
Ixnay on the competition area.
Right, it could just be it'll be a sublet.
Neal and Gerard review.
A spinoff.
Yeah, real
Spin-off.
real nurses and real cars.
Just give us 2%.
Real nerves, really getting on each other's nerves after.
All right, so now we're going to get into the philosophical part of the episode here, and we're just talking about like traveling nursing. Is it a byproduct of nursing shortage, or a cause of the nursing shortage, or I don't see it as a
It's
cause.
been
but
around
I'm
for a
just
long
curious.
time, right? I mean,
Yeah.
and there's been a nursing shortage. I feel like I keep hearing about it since the 90s,
Right.
early 90s, right? So has it ever gone away?
Yeah, it waxes and wanes.
Actually, I think we even looked up. It went back to the 50s.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
That
just
we did
different.
have a stat there.
Is
Yeah.
it just that the people were just
It's
too many people,
well,
not enough?
Well, it's the nursing cycle where I'll give you an example from when I went to nursing school. When I started the nursing program, there was actually a nursing shortage, right? So all of a sudden, the schools are cranking them up, getting enough instructors, having, enough seats. It was very competitive to get into a nursing program because there was a real hot. They were coming onto the campus recruiting the students before they graduated to get hospitals. Everybody was offering scholarships, to get people in there. So it was an associate's program, and it was a 3-year program because of not having enough
Prerequisites.
nursing instructors to do the clinicals. So that was always an issue. So it was basically 1 year of the prerequisites, and then 2 years was nursing, and then you weren't really going full. You weren't going like 12 to 14 credits. You were doing like 8 or 10 or something like that because they just didn't have enough staff, to do all that. When I graduated, there were no jobs to be had. I had received a scholarship. I couldn't even get an interview with the people that gave me the scholarship. Wouldn't even give. So I said, you gave me a nice scholarship to go to school. Don't you at least want to talk to me? No, we're not hiring.
And I was just before him, so I barely kept mine. I had the same thing, scholarship, and they were really trying to find a spot for me, and I got in. And then a couple years later.
It was a totally different
Yeah.
story.
All right, so guys, where do you think the traveling nursing is going to be in our future? I mean, since we have such a worsening nursing shortage, again, we talked about the projections are worsening. we don't even know the full impact of COVID yet. So the bleak projections, usually out to 2030, are bleaker than we know, and they're going to post that information soon. So where do you think traveling nursing is going to play its part in our future in the profession of nursing?
Well, I think travel nursing will be more specialized, and you'll get more people, but I don't think you're going to lose so many people from that bedside. I know so many nurses that are still really young, and they enjoy being at the bedside, or they enjoy moving up where they are, or moving on to, lateral movement to another facility, but maybe an assistant director and things like that. Like, I don't think it's the wave of the future, personally. I just by knowing people. But in places like the cath lab, in places like the operating room, especially, any other specialized nursing areas, that may end up being, you might see a lot of, the last facility we were at, one night there was one staff nurse and there was like 6 of us travelers there to one staff nurse on. Yeah. And we can't be an isolated, situation.
Right.
So that
Everybody,
I think
everybody's
more
saying
of those,
where are the Q-tips?
I've heard that a local hospital has that issue in the emergency room right now. Where
So
and
yeah, I
I think
think that's
another
another specialized place.
specialized
Right.
area. You're going to get
Are they going to be
those.
travelers? Maybe not travelers, but I
All
wonder.
private contractors?
Yeah,
Right.
that's what they do with labs now, right? A lot of labs and hospitals been subbed out. Cleaning departments and so on, they're all being subbed out, right? So I just wonder. I do wonder if if that is the future, because I wasn't hoping to travel after so many years. This right now, if I can kind of maintain and make some money and put my kids through college and and still be able to have some kind of sanity coming home, I think that's a huge benefit, obviously to me and then my family. But I don't know if what it would be like if we were just all subcontracted out.
Yeah, and another interesting thing I heard
Because then it's just
or
nursing.
read.
It's the same thing, right?
Another interesting thing I heard or read, and I believe now I read it on the internet, is that a lot of these big hospital systems are having their own travel
That's
companies
a rumor I keep hearing
to stock their own,
right, which is essentially
I've
just
read
a
and heard that as
contracted
well.
nurse, yeah.
So-
So I don't know.
It's
I don't know.
I haven't dug into
I'm not
that
really
at
sure
all.
how that works, and because
Isn't that kind of like a slap in the face of your staff?
Well, I think
Like, we're gonna pay these people.
How's that any different than, like, say, per diem or pool?
Well,
Right.
that's what I mean. Like if we're all contract, we're
Right, right.
we're still just nursing now for another person.
It's almost like they're
Right,
trying to get away from paying, benefits.
I think
and
it's a
giving-
glorified float system.
Yeah,
Right.
That's what it is. It's like people don't like to float, people will quit. But if you're paid extra money and your job is to fill in the holes at wherever in your 12 hospitals that you own,
Right.
then you're golden.
Oh, so Frank, did you read were these like really big hospital systems that then were
They-
using them as float teams between the hospitals?
They didn't use the word float teams. I'm using that.
What's that?
I go, it's actually kind of not a bad idea.
From that perspective, but
From that perspective,
about it,
from
right.
their perspective,
No, I mean,
and it's just another job to
Right,
hey,
right.
this is my staff.
You're going to
you
get
can
paid
make
more money. You're
X amount of
floating now.
dollars, but you're going to float within the system.
that I
Right.
think is probably one of the biggest, and then not to digress all the way, but the biggest cons of traveling is because we ultimately said, this is a shit show. I don't want to be here anymore. I'm going to go somewhere else. You go to another shit show, but I'm getting paid more money. So
Right,
what we're
right, right.
saying, we're just saying that problems not getting fixed. All the issues that we all have as nurses, those aren't getting fixed.
Right.
But I'm just going somewhere else to get paid more money.
Right, and that
Just
travel
to blind
nursing
myself to
is
that.
just a Band-Aid.
Yes.
I mean, it really is. I mean, all the stuff that led us to...
Travel nursing the way it's being used now.
Right, because Frank, I remember
Because
when
it's been around before.
Well,
right?
no.
So 20 years ago when I started in the OR, I was a still fresh OR person, and we had lots of travelers because we have our census increases during the summer since we're down by the Jersey Shore, and we wouldn't have enough staff to cover that increase in census. So we did have a lot of traffic. So it wasn't always necessarily a nursing shortage as much as it was a change in the way the census was. It was seasonal. They didn't have seasonal
Like
employees.
they didn't want to hire all the extra full-time people, knowing that
For 3 months.
we're going to go
Right,
back down
right.
to.
So, like, quite the opposite of that. And our old hospital, a lot of times we'd have a lull in the summer,
Right.
and then it would kick back up from September to like November. Then nothing in December and January, and then it would kick back up, and then it dies down.
Yeah, because we used to have 2 call teams, and it was a 300-bed hospital. Having 2 call teams for how many rooms do we have in that OR? 9.
9 or 10.
Yeah.
We kept opening and closing one.
Oh, the
Back and forth.
cysto room.
No, room 5 was
Oh, okay.
was a
Yeah.
glorified closet or
Right,
the
that's
smallest
remember.
operating room you ever seen, back and forth.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah. So it's been around for then. It wasn't even during the nursing. It's like,
But that's a good point. It's not just a nursing shortage that precipitates.
I think we're in such a bad spot
travel.
right now that it is being just used as Band-Aids.
Yeah, and we're going to do a whole episode, me and Jim, on the nursing shortage. We've touched on it in the last episode and talked about it here, but that's a full-blown, the reasons.
That's a conversation
I mean,
for another day. With
right, but it's
other
very,
numbers and
very interesting.
yeah.
I mean, statistically,
Yeah.
to look at it. I'm surprised because, like me and Jim said, we've been nurses our whole life, but we never look at the statistics. Now you're looking at the statistics of your own profession. You're like,
Who's got time?
well, yeah,
know what I mean?
we weren't executives. We weren't nursing administration. It's not something we came to
But
work.
it's startling to hear some of those statistics, especially for us. We have another 20 years, knock on wood, God willing, but 20 years to go before we get to the point where congratulations
Thank you.
to retire.
Well, and unfortunately, we had mentioned that what was it? It was over 20% of the nurses 2 years ago were within retirement age, and as of now, so 2 years, those 2 statistics. So absolutely, right now, 20% of all nurses are retirement age, full benefits from Social Security right now. So who knows what the next year or 2 are going to look like?
Right.
Especially with post-COVID, now maybe the monkeypox.
yeah, right.
So,
Ebola might come back. All right, well, I think we're going to wrap up this show. I mean, I think we hit all the good spots. So I'll give you guys an opportunity. Is there anything you want to say at all on the way out, or have you said it all? Or
Yeah, I mean,
maybe
Go ahead. You can hit first.
to people
I'll
considering.
follow.
How about the people considering thinking
Travel.
about traveling?
I think you should definitely try it. You get comfortable with yourself and wherever you're at, and then go out and travel for a little bit. At the very least, I found it to be a confidence builder in myself. You kind of prove to yourself what you're capable of doing, and really see who you are as a nurse.
Under
because
some
when
pressure.
because when you get out there, although I'm not always by myself. So when I do get out there by myself, maybe I'll be able to see that I'm able to do all the things I talk about and just push through. Be the nurse I want to be.
And for travelers, when you're coming into a new situation, be mindful. And I'm sure the veterans are, but I've worked with several different sets of travelers, and some are very mindful of the staff and considerate of you're coming into their area, their space, so be respectful.
Yeah.
Work hard. We do nothing but try to work as hard as we can. Listen, we're all human. We're all going to have those moments where you're like,
I'll vouch for these guys.
I gotta sit. I have to sit. And then on the opposite side, I've been a staff nurse, and the last thing you want is somebody to fail. It's only gonna hurt you. It's only gonna make your job that much harder.
Yeah.
So, on this flip side of that, respect your new facility, and then as a staff, respect this person coming in, trying to help out. They're not looking to take your job; they're taking an opportunity.
Yeah.
Right.
Nice.
Which is available to all. Yeah, I know. That's,
Guy.
he should have his own show. All right, well,
Next day, Frank. Next day.
anyway,
Call me up every couple months.
we're going to wrap it up. We hope you like the traveling nurse show. And that's it for Real Talk with Real Nurses. Gerard and Neal, thanks for joining us.
Thanks
We
for having
appreciate
us.
it.
Thank you so
All right,
much.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, we'll see you next time. Real Talk with Real Nurses. Jim, say goodbye.
Goodbye, Jim.
Hey, don't forget to comment. We'd love to know what's happening in your nursing world. Click the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you stay in the loop. Thanks for watching.